Next question's from Horatio. He says, my employer has a 5% 401k match. Great. But a 3-year vesting period. 100% vested at 3 years, nothing prior. I don't love this job, and I don't want to stay here for 3 years. Any advice?
Well, here's the good news, Horatio. Money that you put in is always going to be your money. When you put your you said it's 5% match. I'm going to assume it's dollar for dollar to keep it easy. So if you put in $1, they'll put in $1. You put in 5%, they'll put in 5%. The good news is the money that you put in is always yours. It's 100% vested. So if you leave tomorrow, next week, next year, next decade, you get to take those contributions with you. The only thing that really stays at risk is that 5% match, is the money that they put in there. And then rather than doing what most companies do, which is called a graded scale, they're doing a 3-year cliff. You got to be there for 3 years in order to get that. Here's my opinion. I'm curious, Brian, to see if you agree with this. I think you still got to do it just in case you're still there. The worst case scenario, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to save 5% and save 5% and save 5% and save 5%. You're going to put that money into the 401k, and if you leave at year 1 or year 2 or before you hit year 3, okay, you still got to roll it out, but you've done some serious saving and you haven't really been harmed. It's not like the employer took money away from you. But if you get to like 2.5 years and you're thinking, man, I don't love this job and I'm going to start interviewing and I'm going to think about looking somewhere else, you might say to yourself, but maybe I'm going to wait 6 more months. Maybe I'm going to wait till I get over that 3-year vest and then I'm going to think about changing because I've put in the hard work. If you end up making it the 3 years and you made the choice not to go get that 5% free money, I think that you would royally kick yourself for missing out on that opportunity.
Horatio, first of all, you got to do the 5% because that's step 2 of the financial order of operations, moneyguy.com/resources. But I think there's actually some things you need to know about retirement plans, and it's going to require you to do some homework. You need to go get the details on your employer's retirement plan because there might be, you don't have to work all the way through the year. A lot of people don't realize there's what's called a 1,000-hour provision, meaning that you very well could work for only 6 months out of the year, have 1,000 hours of service, and be considered to have gotten a full year's worth of time. You just need to make sure there's not what's called a last day provision on that retirement plan for year end. So you need to know the details of your retirement plan because it's one of those things where if you already worked there for 2 years and we are in March of year 3, maybe this is only a 3-month decision that you have to think. You just need to know all the variables. And here's why this is important to me is that when I was working in government and we had I had police officers who would take jobs in different neighboring counties to make $2,000 to $3,000 more a year, which on paper they probably were thinking that's great. But what they weren't realizing is if they did that in year 4 and they were so close to reaching the 5-year pension vesting, because it was only 5 years at that time, I used to think that was a foolish decision on their part to pick up an extra $2,000 to $3,000 here, but walk away from this huge benefit of this vested pension. And it was the same way when I started my first company. I put in my notice with my employer on February 15th. Why did I choose February 15th when I knew actually 14 months earlier that I was going to start my own company? And the reason is because they had a great year-end bonus. I wanted to make sure I was there for that year-end bonus. I knew they did have a last day provision on some of the retirement stuff. So I stuck it out longer than I probably needed to because I wanted to make sure I didn't leave behind some of those big payoff moments. But also I wanted to give the employer flexibility. I didn't want to catch them in a bad season and do it. So I would do your homework, Horatio, so that you kind of know what the true opportunity or what the things you're giving up are, and because it might be more nuanced than you realize.